All right, so good evening. My name is Anton. I am Senior Solutions Engineer with Atlassian, working with DACH enterprise customers. I have roughly 35 customers on my patch. 2.5 years with Atlassian, previously 10 years with SAP. Totally different business, but more or less, I think I like the fact that my company is doing a lot in the business of teamwork, and this is pretty much where I also feel myself really passionate about. Uh, Fair point right here. Never been an admin, have to admit. But once I started with Atlassian, I was very fascinated with how intuitive the platform is. I started my Atlassian journey with Atlassian Cloud. So I do know data center as well, but I started on cloud, completing all the certifications and the trainings on Atlassian University. And once again, really fascinated by the fact how intuitive and somewhat easy also for someone like myself, not having administrative background, to actually join this universe and start doing things, right? And I was talking to Quimo, what should I bring? What kind of topics should I present? And I didn't have a chance to go to Barcelona. I was taking care of my, at that point of time, 5 weeks-old son. But then a colleague of mine actually did go to Barcelona, and she was standing at an admin booth. And I messaged her and said, hey, Janana, do you have any cool information that's super exclusive stuff from Barcelona that I could present to Atlassian community in Cologne? And this is what I brought with myself today. So maybe there was a super session, it was not recorded. So if you did not visit the session in Barcelona, I'm going to give you this stuff. So what I'm bringing you is, it's called Atlassian's Admin Guide to Scaling Your System of Work. Obviously, we talk about system of work a lot these days. All those different new applications flying around from Atlassian universe, from outside the Atlassian universe. But how do you actually work yourself around like an admin? And there are a few things that we need to mention about this. So on one side, the actual admin experience, and on the other side, some practices that we bring with us today. So many of you have been with us since the early days of the admin app. Probably you have already seen it got a major facelift, very modernized experience alongside our cloud platform capabilities. But, you know, it can be a little complex to navigate around this. So the presentation is basically structured around these four main topics. We're going to talk about administering at scale, right? So as your business grows, you might need to cut through the chaos. So how do you do it at scale on Atlassian Cloud? AI, big topic. Christina mentioned it as well. So I think it's everywhere. How do we utilize AI in our admin capabilities? Is there a way to do this, right? How do we control the AI usage? Is there a way to do this? So I think this is a very important topic. Data protection, we take it very seriously at Atlassian. What are the controls, the admin controls that we can have to protect your data using Atlassian tools? And finally, change management, which kind of also goes back to the poem that Rebecca presented, all those updates coming in. How do I control this change? How do I manage this change? Like all this like falling down like rain at me. What do I do? Let's start with administering at scale. So obviously, the more users you have, the more projects you have, the more data you have. Probably it is a sign of success, I would say, but at the same time, we kind of need to navigate. So how do we do that? Atlassian sees these three pillars, how to manage at scale, or let's say administer at scale. So on one side, let's automate as much as possible. Doesn't need to do repetitive tasks manually. So automate. With tools like Rovo or Atlassian CLI, it's possible now. And yeah, so I don't know if you've heard, but we have Rovo for admins coming soon. It's going to be available. I see some surprise faces. Oh my God, I love it. Question, maybe generally speaking, how many of you actually used Rovo Chat in your day-to-day activities on Atlassian Cloud? How many Rovo Chat users do we have? Probably half of the audience, slightly more than a half. Rovo Search. Did anyone build their own Rovo agent already? Didn't bring anything like a prize. So the thing is that, yeah, we are having Rovo for admins coming soon. And it's basically your teammate to help you do admin stuff. What kind of stuff? Let's take a look. User management. Let's take an example. I have a few nice GIFs and videos. So let's see it as a chance to, prompting like an admin. So prompting for admin tasks, inviting users to user groups. Let's say you would like to invite 3 users to different user groups. Could be daunting, could be a little bit challenging, but then you just like ask Robo and the invite goes. And if invite fails, if something is not working with this, you can also ask to debug it and basically give you the troubleshooting guide. On the other side, it's also possible to help you configure your IDP, right? So it's not only on the cloud platform, it also goes beyond this, right? So we understand that most of our customers use IDP. I haven't tested it, to be honest. I have no idea if it's really working the way it shows on the slides, but I mean, I do have a trust in my company and I have a feeling that it should be. So yeah, definitely it's really cool that you can actually configure Skim and SAML SSO with the chat. The permissions, also very important thing. How do you determine if your users really have permissions that they are supposed to have? Like, I mean, we do have a permissions helper in Jira, we know that, but how can we do it across the platform, administration at scale, right? So you can also do it with Robo. And finally, security cleanup. I mean, there is a possibility to monitor your API tokens with Atlassian Guard, but at the same time, it can also be like super large list, all those users using the tokens. You can prompt with Robo and basically get the information at the right place and also revoke those tokens if necessary with just one prompt. So QR codes, time for QR codes. Get your phones out. And if you are interested, we do have an early access program coming in 2026. It's the register of your interest. So as usual with Atlassian, if you register your interest, it's not a promise that you will be part of the EAP, but it definitely gives us the feedback that we should have to, understand how much interest is there in the market for a feature like this. All right, let's move on. We move on from users and permissions to authentications, right? So there are also possibilities to add administrative tasks in our automation builder. So we have automation for admins now, right? So you can, for example, set up in authentication security policy automation, and you can basically customize rules to apply those across the whole organization. So you automatically, if users add a group, you can assign it to authentication policy. Previously manual, now you can actually build automation around that. What is already available now, and which is also pretty cool, is the Atlassian command line interface. So you don't really have to go inside the UI. If you know your terminal, you can just like run the commands right there from the terminal and add users to the groups, manage permissions, and do all kinds of stuff. All right, moving on to the next pillar. How do we keep environments clean, optimized? Removing users, removing unused projects, removing fields, yada, yada, yada. Maybe you know already, this is the feature that we already have. This is why it has the Available Now label on the upper right corner, the Jira Site Optimizer. How many know this already? The rest, who does not know it yet, please check it out. It's pretty cool. Basically, it's available right now on Enterprise and Premium. So basically, you can archive, bulk, delete spaces, work items, custom fields, and also most recently issue type schemes or recently renamed work type schemes. The last pillar for administrating at scale would be following a governance cadence, right? So how do we establish a rhythm? What practices do we have on a day-to-day basis to administer at scale? And this is a really cool thing that is coming soon, which is a system health capability app, which basically allows you to check what's going on with your instance, if there are any incidents on status page that are impacting the performance. AWS down that happened, for example, a few weeks ago, could be one of such incidents. The status page was blowing up I remember first day coming back from parental leave. Very fun. Yeah. So basically, system health makes you this proactive information coming into your admin console. And then one thing that a lot of customers has been asking for, probably you've heard it already, probably not, but the units, the additional level of granularity that is being added to our architecture on the admin backend. So, we have a cloud org, we have cloud site, we have different people that can have access to the site, but what if we need something between the org and the site? And this is where the units come into place. So you can separate your organization in different business units and have their own set of applications, like you see here. So some units may need Jira, some may not need Jira, and they can also separate the directories and user groups based on the units. And there are some very nice particular use cases, like, for example, you have a conglomerate. Let's say you are running in a conglomerate or your customers are running in a conglomerate, and you basically have one overarching organization, but those units, they are autonomous. They are running on their own. This is one of the very common use cases to actually utilize those units. Another one could be the regional operations. If, let's say, you would like to distribute this autonomy and responsibility based on regional connectedness, you can do it like this. For example, you have one unit for US operations, one unit for Germany, one for Australia, and so on and so forth. Second time for the QR code. Get your handies out. Mobile phones. Yeah, Rebecca. Honest answer, I don't know. This is a very new information, and we also, I mean, I'm at Atlassian, but I don't have much information right now at hand. These slides is the only thing I have for now, and there's not even a support documentation right now, as far as I know. So I think we should revisit it, but from what I have understood, there is a certain level of data protection between the units, so data doesn't spill over. Question is, can you configure it to spill over, like you asked? Can I establish connection? In my naive thinking and wishful thinking, maybe I'd say it should be possible, but I guess let's see what Atlassian will release, okay? So if you would like to register your interest for EAP for units, just like for the Robo for Dev, I saw some scans, so I'm happy that it's interesting. All right, who wants to talk about AI? You have no choice, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I mean, AI, we already mentioned it today. We have to get ourselves around it. It's inevitable, right? So how do we get the visibility about the AI usage, about the adoption? And once again, we have these another three pillars where we say, how do we support and help our admins manage the AI visibility and control? So on first hand, roll out with intention. So who is using AI? I mean, we all know it's consumption-based. We have credits, right? So we don't want to, have this blowing up. Also, how do I see who is using it? Do I have proper analytics in place? Do I have proper metrics, right? How do I control it? Yeah, and then finally, how do I see what is actually happening? What is AI doing for me? Are there any logs in place? So we're excited to share that we're building a central usage management hub. Some of these capabilities are already there available. On one side, the usage tracking and visibility, this is already in general availability and in a phased rollout. So there is a possibility to proactively track Rovo credits and where are they used, and also the index objects from within your admin hub on the usage dashboard. And then on the other side, which is right now available for Rovo Dev, which is a DevOps part of Rovo, very different kind of app that we have right now, but is also coming soon to Rovo, is also usage controls and user management. So we actually can proactively enable AI features for particular teams. So this is also something that a lot of my customers, especially in highly regulated industries, have been asking for. So, I don't really want all of my employees to use AI. Maybe can I just, delegate this responsibility to a specific group of people? Well, as you can see, as usual on the group level, it would be possible to enable this access. Also for the agent creation. So Atlassian started the Rovo. It was rolled out to everybody. So everybody can create agents. And a lot of people were asking, come on, Anton, there's so many agents already on my instance. I mean, everybody's creating agents. It's flooded. So obviously it's also coming that you can manage permissions, who can create agents and who not. Finally speaking, no slides about these ones. Obviously notifications are coming, so you can get notified about what's happening with your AI part of the stack. And if, let's say, you are approaching your limits for the consumption credits, we don't want to leave you hanging, you will get notified. And also the forecasting and estimation. I think this is very interesting thing. So you can actually foresee how many credits would you be consuming in the next period. Let's move on to data protection and user management. I really have to be careful about what I'm saying because I'm not from the cybersecurity space. So folks, don't Don't kill me if I say something wrong. I'm just kidding. Right. So what do we see as best practices for protecting data and managing users? Some of you may know Guard Premium. So these are similar pillars that we have around Guard Premium. So protect your data, set up protective policies, detect anomalies, detect anything that is not likely to happen with your data in the cloud, respond. So the remediation. So how do you actually act on those anomalies and respond to security threats? And also recover, right? So the backup topic that we have touched today, I'm going to share a few information about the Atlassian backup as well. Right, so we've spoken about protect, and the capabilities that we give to admins probably are already known. So if you have been managing and administering Atlassian Cloud previously, you probably know all these capabilities. You can set up user management, you can verify your domains, claim that those users belong to your organization, and also oversee what are they doing in the cloud, right? So we know that this group management is already there, but it has been streamlined. So with the newest version of the Admin Hub, you have a better visibility on different sites, and also are those accounts managed or external. Finally, which is also available now, you can have the app requests all in one place. This has also been redesigned. So previously it was a little bit scattered. Now it has been rather centralized in one UI. Yeah, and basically, like I said, this is all already available within Guard standard, the SSO enforcement, the multi-factor authentication enforcement, the authentications policies. I believe that it should be already known, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. What is also quite interesting is the external user security policies. How many people are already aware that we do have this in place? Yeah, so a lot of customers have been asking for this. Can there happen security policy for my external users? We do have this now. Yeah, I'll wait for Kramer to take a picture. Yeah. You get the slides. Yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, data classifications. Also something quite important, which is available within Guard Premium at the moment. How do I classify my data and what happens with this data, right? Is it a confidential data that should not leave my Atlassian universe? Then I can, for example, put a confidential label and then prevent it from being exported. I can also set up a policy in place. All right, let's move on to the detection. How do I proactively oversee what's happening on my instance? What do I have in place? With Guard, I can actually proactively do the content scanning. I can scan throughout my instance and see if there is anything suspicious happening. Was there a user that has exported 10 spaces in the last 10 minutes and keeps doing this? And what should I do about it? Or was there any pages or Jira work items that have any sensitive information on it, like API keys or credit card information? What should I do about it? Do I go manually fixing these problems, or can I do it just with one click? And this is where the response piece comes into place. So you scan, obviously you detect, but how do you respond? So you will also have remediation workflows in Guard for this, like with this bad user that exports very sensitive information from Confluence. I see the activity from my Guard dashboard, and I can instantly go to this profile and click on suspending. So I can suspend him, and I can also open a security incident to start further investigation if necessary. Moving on to the recovery. So we are offering Bree solution, just like Christina and Błażej mentioned. We do have, I don't think I need to spend too much time talking about this because you already covered all the features that we have. I'm just going to quickly mention that it is happening right now. So you can define your own rules from within Atlassian organization. But yeah, it was also mentioned, it's going to be a separate add-on with a separate price tag. I'm not going to talk about prices today. So if you want to talk about prices, reach out to your account teams or check our website, but I don't think they have been published right now. I still need to spend some time. So this is basically what are the best practices that we see in terms of protecting data and managing the users. Moving to the final part, how do we manage change? How are we not going to flood into this constant updates that are happening every day? How do we do it? Control, predictability, transparency. Sounds simple. Well, let's maybe take a look. What does it mean for you? We do have capabilities like Sandbox. So probably you know that before you deploy any updates, any new features that are coming into your production, you can test it first in a sandbox. You probably heard about this. We have rolled out the capability to have multiple sandboxes. Now, enterprise level, you can have up to 10 sandboxes right now, which is pretty cool. There's also another capability that you can temporarily delay a very disruptive, potentially disruptive release, a defer rollout, very new feature. Release tracks, you probably know this. You can bundle between continuous and bundled release tracks. So not all the time when the updates are coming in, but let's say once a month. And there's also a very new capability called freeze window. So you can actually have a fixed freeze window where nothing is happening for a critical business period. So instance stays stable. Let's have a quick look. So with multiple sandboxes currently in beta, as it says, you have multiple sandbox per site. I really also like the visual overview, how it looks at the moment. Very, very visual, very, speaks a lot of information, very organized. This is the way I kind of like seeing these things in my admin console. You can manage the sandbox creation right there from the admin hub, and you can basically create this isolated environment where you can manage and see how many sandboxes do I have per product, per site. When it comes to the deferring, the rollout, this is basically where we talk about the predictability, right? So we have several options to manage feature rollout timings within your organization. Once again, we always start with the enterprise plan, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be coming to the other plans as well. Let's just stay tuned for that. You can have temporary delay for a certain rollout that could impact your production, and then just put it at a certain point of time later. When it comes to feature release cadence, right? So how many of you have already used release tracks or know how release tracks work? Right? So basically, this is a feature that has been there for quite a while. You bundle your release features. You don't always deploy them continuously. They just come in continuously. Usually, this is how it works on the cloud, but you put them on one release track, which is being deployed once in 4 weeks. Yes, and then very interesting feature that I find very interesting is a freeze window, right? So to offer even more change management control, we have freeze windows. Right now, also open beta for enterprise customers, where you can pause the rollout during critical business hours, right? They offer this simple and effective way so your teams are not disrupted, right? A freeze can be scheduled up to 60 days in advance, and the window duration could be up to 2 weeks. And this is basically how do we see what practices and what features, what capabilities do we see as Atlassian giving you as users, as admins, as partners to actually protect, safeguard, and administer your data at scale, right? I think we are going into a very interesting direction, also considering the fact that we now have Rovo for admins. I think this, for me personally, it's probably one of the most favorite and interesting features to see and test at some point. I haven't tested it yet, but yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting journey that we're going to go together.